Can sarcasm be a survival skill? When faced with heavy emotional topics or difficult discussions, some people may use sarcasm as a coping mechanism to detach themselves from the seriousness or discomfort of the situation. Sarcasm is the use of irony to convey mockery or contempt. It's a type of communication that can be used to express resentment in a non-confrontational way, masking anger, fear, or hurt under the veil of humor. Sarcasm can be a release valve for pent-up emotions. The show Mystery Science Theater 3000 was created by stand-up comedian Joe Hodgson in 1988. Originally airing on a small TV station in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the show slowly grew in popularity, graduating from a local program to a national broadcast on Comedy Central and later the Sci-Fi Channel, with a 2015 revival on Netflix. New episodes are currently being crowdfunded. The premise and cast of the show has altered over time, but the essence is always focused on the hapless protagonist and some robots stranded in space, being forced to watch bad movies while a mad scientist monitors their reactions. The main appeal of the show has always been the sarcastic riffing of the weekly movie. Originally starring Joe Hodgson himself, and later replaced by a revolving cast of replacement hosts, the imprisoned protagonist retains his sanity by using sarcastic jokes and mockery to alleviate his unpleasant situation. Sarcasm becomes the main weapon that the characters on the show use to protect themselves. They employ sardonic comments to amuse themselves while also demonstrating their anger to their mad scientist captors. Although they may be reluctant to directly confront the mads, who control the satellite's oxygen supply, using sarcasm supplies an indirect, passive-aggressive way to speak their mind. Sarcasm is a cognitive and emotional tool used to test the borders of truth when you know people don't want to hear the truth. Sarcasm can be used in a covert, cloak-and-dagger way to insult without facing consequences, and can also be utilized by people to minimize their vulnerability in an unpleasant conversation or social interaction. The inhabitants of the MST3K satellite of love, Joel, Mike Nelson, Jonah Heston, etc., have been forced to use sarcasm as their only means of fighting back. The legendary poet and playwright Oscar Wilde said that sarcasm was simultaneously the lowest form of wit and the highest form of intelligence. The balance between sarcasm and intelligence is displayed by the robots Crow and Tom Servo. Crow, the golden robot made from Tupperware panels, a lacrosse helmet, and a bowling pin, was loosely based on comedy legend Groucho Marx, the master of sarcasm, who began his career in the 1920s as part of the Marx Brothers comedy team and later hosted a popular television game show called You Bet Your Life from 1950 to 61. Like Groucho, Crow has a direct, acerbic, irreverent sense of humor and lashes out at authority. Tom Servo, the red robot made from a gumball machine, was written to be an intellectual, a condescending personality that quotes literature and history to reduce a situation to absurdity. Sarcasm can have a playful intent, as a means of pointing out the ridiculousness and absurdity of a situation in a fun and humorous way. Alternatively, it can be a non-violent way of lashing out when there is no other way to make people realize how uncomfortable or unhappy you are. The great Russian novelist Fyodor Dostoevsky recognized sarcasm as a cry of pain. Sarcasm, he said, was usually the last refuge of modest and chaste-souled people when the privacy of their soul is coarsely and intrusively invaded. Mystery Science Theater 3000 shows the value of mastering sarcasm as both a psychological defense and as a way of striking back.